Hello, everybody. We're live. We've got, as I pointed out at the beginning of the chat, the written chat, that we have a lot of questions today. And I'm going to get to those real quickly. But I thought I'd remind you that it is 11, 22, 22, which is way too many master numbers for us to not look a little bit at the numerology. And people say, a master number, what does that mean? And I hear a whole lot of different descriptions of master numbers. But these are the kind of two that when I teach numerology with regards to tarot, which is not a full numerology course, it's just how the numbers are reflected in the ones we know. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Angela. Hi, Esther. I think, and I think Annette was in here too. Okay, Muldoon. Okay, I've done my name calling for the day. That makes me crazy. I love acknowledging you guys, but when I'm watching shows, it makes me nuts. Um, okay, back to the 11s. You can tell I'm in a typical mood today. I'm wandering. 11 is illumination of the subconscious, and it's a dreamer. And one of the things, if you have friends who are 11s or have prominent 11s in their numerology, they'll have a lot of nervous energy. They'll be kind of yeah 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 yeah, and but when they're focused on something, there's nothing better than an 11. Now, what happens? What if an 11 doesn't do their 11 thing? What if they choose to use their 3D free will to not do it? Then what they become is they become a negative two, and that's that they can't get along with people. And so I've had a lot of friends who are 11s that when I first met them, I thought, well, that's one terribly obnoxious SOB, and I'm not going near them again. And it's because I met them when they were in their negative state. Um, the other number that we're looking at because of today's date is 22. Oh, by the way, if you're born in November, you always have a master number in your numerology. So clever people who are born in November. The 22. 22 is known as the master builder. The 22 actually takes all of the rising understanding of the subconsciousness of the 11 and pulls it into things that can be really done. Um, they're both 11s and 22s are very psychic. The biggest problem they have is a lot of times they don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want to deal with that part of their life. But eventually they will. The older they get, I found the more likely they are to come around and kind of understand that this isn't a curse, to know it's going to happen before. I had a friend who was a campaign consultant, and he was so good, and he was so good at projecting stuff. But he'd look far ahead, and people would say, well, he'd say, well, can't you see this is how this is going to turn out, or it's going to be 5 more years to we're to the point of being able to get these points across to people. And people always thought he was very arrogant, which is kind of true. He was. But he'd make his predictions and no one would believe him. And then when it would roll around and what he had said, had they struck in the right direction, they would have won. They kind of blamed him, like, well, you should have spoken up louder. I told him his consulting firm should have been called Cassandra Consulting, which, if you know the story of Troy, Cassandra said, don't bring that horse in, it's full of soldiers. And they eventually ended up uh, punishing her for that. So that's a warning. I mean, having master numbers is all lovely and wonderful, but it does not help you if get other people to understand you. And I know because I've got a 22 flat right in the middle of my numerology. So it's not always easy, but it is when you get in with the flow and you understand what you're supposed to do, it's much easier. So we're going to go to the questions I got today. And this is the first one. And there's a real pattern in these questions today. What is my next job and my spiritual balance? So we're going to we're not going to use, she's a lady who designed this garden, but she's trying to figure out, she's working at a not spiritual civilian job, and it's starting to have her cause physical problems. So when I was talking to her yesterday, she said, can you explain to me what's going on, and I was tired, and I told her no, but I'd do it on today's show. So we're going to look at what's the next right move for her in the next 3 months. That's how I'm going to choose to acknowledge this question. That's what I told her about last night. She's crying out and spilt milk, man. She needs to get out of that mode. You off of here? Yeah. You little babies get pushed over. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're going to definitely be moving on from where you are in the next 3 months. That's your out card. But what's going on right now? Well, you're not really making decisions. You're not really putting out what you want. You've got the card that says you can put out what you want, and it's coming up, but you're like, I don't like being here. And I said to her, how would you picture a job that would be perfect? And she couldn't. And I told her to sleep on it, because what she's doing now is every time she thinks, oh, that would be a good thing to do, then she falls back on, but it didn't work out before. This is the crying over spilt milk card, except appropriate to the fact that I normally read in a wine bar, used to read in a wine bar. He's crying over spilt wine. And he's so busy focusing on what hasn't worked out that he misses that there's 2 things that he has learned that he can move on with. And it's just, I'm getting this card a lot for people right now. I think people feel like they're in some kind of spiritual funk, and they need help, and they're going to get it. This card, when it shows up, you have to realize if you keep walking into a mirror, you cannot go forward. You have to make a turn and go find those cups and move on. In the past, she did get out of a lot of very difficult situations, and with COVID wiped out her career and wiped out the company she worked for. So she's ended up living with her sister, and she's trying to get her life pulled back together, and she just doesn't feel like anybody's telling her the truth. Now, this is where she sits today, and it's not the brightest of pictures, but she does have a lot of really good stuff coming up here. I think you kind of have to go through. I have several questions you'll see in the ones I got today where people feel like they're in a funk. That is a product of the eclipse seasons, which is pushing us to go do something new and different. And the other part of it is we are just getting geared up to go into a very interesting push of our energies. It's something like 8/8 Lionsgate in 2021, when everyone felt like the world was accelerating. And matter of fact, Danny and I did a show that fall about why does everything seem to be moving so much faster, and it has a lot to do with this energy. And we're about to go through another acceleration of our energy, and I even got a question from someone about that today. So next, what happen? She's gonna find an offer that's going to make her not only make her money, but make her feel happy. She's really afraid to go to anywhere where she's not going to get along with people, because she's a workhorse and she does more than her fair share, and that she's been taken advantage of in the past. But that's not going to happen. So we're going to turn that card over. Don't pay any attention to that one, Alma. You're seeking temperance and balance right now, and I sense that you are. You are going to finally ask for the right thing. You are going to finally find in your own mind the best place for you to move forward. You're going to walk away from all the battling and things you've been up against. And this is the card of moving on. I've never pulled the Knight of Swords for someone that they didn't move on from where they lived or where they worked. It's actually a physical movement and a physical change. Now, you could work at home, but go to work for a new company, which I think I think if she gets her resume out, she's a brilliant artist. If she gets her resume out, it'll help. She's just been very tired. And I tell you what, the universe will say, okay, do it today. You're going to feel inspired and you'll do it. So it looks good, kid. Glad to give the answer. Let me show you. When you write questions to me, I sometimes have to edit them because um, my system only lets me put so many letters in a comment. And so what we've got to now, Vivian C wants past life. Okay. And I'm going to do them with cards because I'm quicker with cards. But if I need clarification, I'll go to the past life garden. It's actually where you are right now in this past life. This was the past life. You had a lot of money, you had temperance, and you had a lot of ability to move and make changes for yourself. And I think you're a woman, but you're a woman who had a lot of independence. And I'm seeing late 17, early 1800s. So I would have presumed you were a wealthy widowed person who got widowed early and got the money and was smart enough to never marry again. And so you kept things balanced. Anyway, in this life, you've got that's called the bridge of despair. So you knew to not come in and pick a difficult bridge to walk through, or you picked one you could get off relatively quickly. Right now, you're getting some answers on that you're hearing from that past life, but they're upsetting you because you're like, that's not the answer I want. Well, maybe it's the answer you should consider because your out card is the Empress, which is a lot of nurturing and a lot of caring with people and for other people. And maybe one of the things was this woman was extremely independent. And you may be feeling shadows of her and saying, I don't want other people to be all that dependent on me. And that may be the tug you're feeling on this past life. Now you realize past lives are based on all the soul paths you've had, but there are certain past lives that will affect us more in one life than another. And in this one, it's finding and holding your own independence is what the lesson is from that life. And Mary M wants to know about her past lives. And first, I'm going to use a pendulum on this to see if you're male or female. Okay, let's see. Ooh, you were a Taurus. You found your clarity through deviating from where other people wanted you to go. You were young. You died when you were younger, and that's where you got a lot of clarity. But we're going to see. It says you're a male in here, but I'm going to see if that's just not because male energy had more control over you. Well, you're definitely swinging higher into the female. So there's a male that you were attached to ancestrally in this life who had a lot of effect on you. So let's see what the cards have to say about who you were. But you were a Taurus. So if you're a Taurus now, you must like that. That's to have and to make. I'm a Taurus too. One thing I can tell you about being Taurus is we don't like to move. When I hear how many times some people have moved in their lives, I'm like, what? How could you do that? Mary, let's see how these past lives are linking together now. How do you use a past life? That was your other question. Oh, you're a female. Well, okay. 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 You want to know how to use past lives. Well, there's two things people can do with past lives is They can hook into them and say, oh, I was miserable. I starved to death in the Middle Ages and my life's never going to get better. Or you can look at the energies that flowed through from that what you learned from that sense of lack may carry through as a shadow in your soul of you can't see other people mistreated or starved. I mean, it's what do you want to make of it? Because you still have to filter it through the ego of this life. Now, past life, you were a man. You were a man, even though it said you were a woman. You were a man. You were very, very, very successful, but you gave so much that you lost all your strength. That you just petered out. It just went away. In this life, which are these three cards, you reluctantly took the assignment to come in as a female because of, well, the energy that is happening in different generations around females. But you came in with some clear messages of how to create a happy family and how to have a happy family background. And what it would say in this life is this guy worked himself to death. And yeah, he had lots of stuff, but what good did it do him? He was very stubborn and very, very rigid. So you've come in this life to be a female, which meant you had more flexibility with regards to some of that. I don't know what your age is, Mary, so that's kind of hard to tell. But what it says is that you've always been the happy messenger and the person. You probably appear a lot younger than you are, and you make people feel a lot more happy, and you draw them in. And your only problem is you need to get over the fact that you didn't have all of the power, that the seeming power that the masculines seem to have. And that's, trust me, is very much a seeming power. It's not a reality. Okay, now we got the other question that I'm getting a lot right now. Valerie B., I'm ready for rapid expansion to the higher vibrations of unconditional love and peace for my highest outcome in grace and ease. Can you please give me a reading guiding you that way? I'm going to lay out a reading, and then I don't know if you've ever read the book Angels Speak, but it's a great way to get in touch with all those higher vibrations. And especially if you feel you're moving into them, they give you ways to talk to angels and to talk to however you identify your energetic beings and how to move forward. And they teach you how to get into your higher vibration and hold on to it. And it's called Angels Speak. It's one word. There's an E on the end of the K. When I first heard about it years ago, it was out of publication. It has now been republished, and it's a really fascinating story, and it gives you fascinating insights in how to grow when you're doing this. So now we're going to, well, you're letting go of a lot of grief and you're trying to connect to people. Well, you got the sun. Whatever you choose to do with this, you can do. Okay. Okay. What I'm going to guide you through, what the guides are telling me for you, is you've let go of a lot of pain and heartache. You're trying to get together with people more that are of a like mind. You started this journey a little while ago of expanding and moving towards people. This card, when it's right side up, this way, it means you can't meet the people you need to. There's too much control with the 5 there. This is 5 is either freedom or chaos to me, and you're choosing freedom now. You used to tie into a lot of chaos. That's going really well. I think you've had some revelations recently that really wake you up, but there's still parts of your life that you're tied to. And this is your process. This is what they're telling you have to do. You have to look out all those swords that are imprisoning you in that cell, are swords you put in the snow. You need to go ahead and get yourself out of the snow. That's your job. What you're afraid of is you've started on these sort of grand journeys before, but you keep running into speed bumps. Well, speed bumps energetically are a chance to reassess where we are, and it's an opportunity that the heavens are giving us. And then you've got Temperance, which means right now. This is like right now. This is like today. You're balancing things. I think you're giving yourself a little bit of grace about having to be the good hostess and take care of everybody else. This card, right side up or upside down, means that um, you have a certain level, a certain energy that always creates enough financial abundance for you to survive. But your out card on this, and between this card and this card, is you just got to dump a lot of stuff. I think you've gone through this revelation. You can see where it can grow. But what's blocking you is that you won't get rid of stuff. And some of this stuff may be people. And that's very clearly, if you watch any of the astrologers that will monthly talk your ear off, they're all talking about how this is a time of change and a period of change. And that's where you are. So that's, I hope the reading guides you. These are the two cards. You've got to remember you have this card, the Sun. Best card on the board. When I get it, I have to read everything as positively as possible. And even those may have seemed negative to you, I'm telling you how to deal with them positively. And it's cast them off, find balance in your life, and just unburden yourself. Let it go. Oh, painter. Thank you. And I want to let you know, Diana, I picked up my paintbrushes, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I went to visit my grandchildren. And yesterday, I got out my watercolors, and my daughter got me a new set for me to sort of play with, because I used to paint when I was very young. I used to sell paintings when I was 10 and 11 years old. I was an incredibly good watercolorist. And then I got pissed at my mother because she was shilling me out to people saying, oh, she'll come to your house and look at your living room furniture and paint you something lovely. And I put my paintbrushes down. Caught holy hell from her. But my dad said, if you don't want to paint, baby, you don't have to paint. Don't paint. And that's actually at the same time that I picked up tarot cards. So maybe I should have kept painting. I'm not sure. Okay, next one. Vicky. Hi, Nancy Jean. Wondering about my spirits guide. If you can get a clear message from them. I'm not sure if I'm just too tired to hear them, or not listening closely enough. Vicky, you're another person that if you don't have it, I would strongly suggest you get Angel Speak. The book's about this fat. I mean, you can read this book in an afternoon. And it's a story of two sisters who were all of a sudden getting woken up. And they were not getting woken up in a convenient time like we are. They were getting woken up in the late 60s and early 70s. They used to go talk about what their guides were telling them was coming on Good Morning America in the early 70s. So, and into later 70s. Anyway, the angels kept telling them, you're going to have to write a book. Now, mind you, both of these sisters, they'd been raised in the middle of the U.S., but by the time the voices started speaking to them, one was on the East Coast and one was on the West Coast. And there's a couple of people who are talking here about how they're getting woken up at night. I'm going to get to your questions. But for these two sisters, they would wake them up in the middle of the night and say, get up and write down what I'm telling you. And the sisters were like, what's the deal? Why can't you talk to me at noon, more convenient time? Well, for exactly what Vicky's saying, when they catch you in the middle of the day, we're too busy, not listening. And if you read that book, it will really help you understand how to listen and how to clear your mind to hear what they say. It was a grand revelation to me when I found the book. But as my main guide, Addie, said, I didn't meet Addie till I was 69. And Addie showed up, and I went through a regression in a group, and all of a sudden I met her and found out about her. And at one point in my initial meeting with her, I said, well, I hope you're not pissed. I never went looking for you, but I just kind of thought spirit guides were kind of a hokey thing. And she said, it didn't matter, baby. You did what I told you to do. So they're guiding you whether you like it or not. So what's a message from your spirit guides for Vicky? New beginnings. You've had the sunshine. You're another one. Man, I had a feeling I was going to see a lot of the same cards today. And I am. It's because of the period of time we're in. A lot of us are just finally letting go of the heaviness of our heart that we tried to make work. It didn't work. You've got at your base, Vicky, your guides are telling you you have all the sun in the world. You have all the enlightenment when you choose to open up to it. But I think you were so heavily affected by a man in your early years who said you can't know that, you can't do that, that whenever you do have revelations and use your mentality and use your psychic energies, you fall back to the guilt from that person. And that's what you need to turn. These cards have already happened. They're great cards to have the Ace of Wands and the Sun. It shows that you got a whole lot going for you, but this card says this is the one you need to turn. Now, any card that's in the future that hasn't happened yet, you can change. Any card that has happened, you can come to understand it. And that's what I think the power of tarot is, because in the future, you can't change things. I see you have spent a lot of time crossing the bridge of despair and carrying your new life towards you and going to a new place. And right now, you just have so many choices, you're not sure which one to make. But it's because you're completing a cycle. So you don't have to pick new things. You need to complete where you are, get out of the stormy seas. And I see a male figure showing up, the King of Cups. It's going to be very interesting for you to communicate with and talk with. And I don't predict it as a great romance. So I'll pull him down and see what he is. But and this could be, I'm going to ask first, is this your guide? Is your guide a male? Because my second guide is Frank. He's my protector. And when Frank speaks and says, don't go there, you don't go there. It's probably how I made it all the way to 73. Because Frank was there. And remember, you have to ask for help. You can't just say, they're going to shower it on me because they think I'm such a great being. You kind of have to ask for it. Or they'll make sure that you see the signs so you know what to do. So this is a guide. Okay. Is he in this life? Yeah, he's okay. He's going to be a good friend. The sun right side up or upside down means it's wonderful. He's going to convince you to not take some paths. If you listen to his conversations with him, he's going to convince you of paths to not take that might be the wrong way to go. But he's not stopping you from moving ahead. He's helping you move ahead appropriately. There's going to be, you have a little hard time with change, but it shows you changing into more the Queen of Wands and finally straightening out the energy you had with that male at the beginning of your life. So I think he is a guide. And if you talk to him, and you can call him the King of Cups. I have a friend who I've been reading her cards for years, and she had a business person she worked with, and I nicknamed him the King of Cups because every time he showed up, it was something about him. And she refers to him now as the King of Cups. Katie, hi, Nancy Jean. I would like to know about my relationship karma with my new roommate, who was also an old friend, ex-boyfriend. Okay. Okay, let's see if this is going to be positive or not. I'm asking a yes, no on if this is going to be positive. Your karma with this guy's positive. Apparently that one was shut. He's there to teach you a lesson you didn't learn in the past yet. He's there to help you pick out what parts of your skills you want to work with. I think in the long term, this shows you two aren't parting in this life, but part of the reason he's there is to make you reevaluate yourself. So I don't know if that answers all of the thing about the relationship. Let's see if the relationship is going to move in the direction you perceive it's going to move into. But he does have an old karmic relationship. He's been with you as a family member, all the different roles someone can play around in your life before now. We're going to see if this relationship's going to go in the direction you think it's going to go in. It says yes, but when you read what the cards say about the relationship is he got you out of a situation in the past where you felt trapped. And it really is helping you financially. And there's something going on around your life now that a whole lot of stuff's breaking down. It could be because of the Six of Swords out there Six of Cups. It's breaking away from family members. You're in indecision and you're still crying over spilt milk. So the resolution with him is not going to be quick. It is moving in the direction that your heart of hearts is telling you. And there's a certain amount of security there and a certain amount of chaos, which just means you're balancing things like we all are right now. You woke up early, can't go back to sleep, even though I'm dog tired. You and the next question belong together, Tammy. The next question is, can I get a message from my spirits, guys? I've been so tired. Couldn't it be from the vaccination? Or what Dorothy just said, the new moon is tomorrow, by the way, guys. We're in the balsamic phase of the moon. And the reason I call it the balsamic doesn't mean just a vinegar. Balsamic means something that's been, if you put a sauce on the stove and it says to keep it boiling till you reduce it by half or more to make the saucy taste, that's being balsamic. So a lot of what we've been going through for you, Tammy, and for you, Engla, I can tell you, I can lay cards on it, but I'm not sure they would be very helpful. I would say the best thing for the both of you is to make through the 23rd and see how you feel after that, because I've been bone tired. And I even took 4 days off and did something I'd always really wanted to go back to doing. I might show you a couple of my cards. I'm not sure. Because they're Christmas cards. They're not throwing cards. And I just kind of got away from all of this and just concentrated on that. And I felt somewhat better. But like this morning, I woke up and I have an appointment. I'm supposed to take my car into the garage because its battery died again and have them evaluate it. And I just called them and said, I can't do this. I can't go another place, do another thing. And all I've been slinging is paintbrushes. So I hope that gives, I'm just going to say, if I'm going to put your two questions together and say, are Engla and Tammy being affected? And the next person's got the same problem, guys. You're going to see this is a real thing that's going on right now. Okay, and the next lady's name is Marianne. And she also is trying to, the anxiety and the why am I here stuff. Okay, let's see. Are all these three ladies suffering from the balsamic moon? Oh, yeah. Interesting cards, though. Okay, what it's telling you is you're going to bring an end to a lot of crap that's been anxiety around you. This is a great reading, though. You're having a complete change in your values. You understand you're on the brink of meeting some new people. It's kind of affecting, it's twisting with your brain. It's playing with the dark side of you. But very soon you're going to wake up and figure out a newer, brighter path. And that's all three of you. So I'm real excited because I'm feeling the same way. And I don't know if you've ever heard this readers talk about this, but when we read something a lot for people, it usually means that's coming our direction. And so Lana has a different story about past lives. Why am I reminded of past life events now? Do I have unresolved issue with this person, or is it just background story I needed to remember? Okay. And remember, all of us are waking up into a new sense of consciousness we haven't had access to before, and it's exhausting. It just is exhausting. But Lana's past life. Yeah, you got the same card that the last group got as their out card. You needing to shed. You need to look at whatever's going on around these past lives. In this past life, you were a male. You didn't. You had all the power, and you didn't use it very well. So something's reminding you to not move ahead hastily, because in this life, you've always been the more analytic one, and you've actually fought that part of yourself. You're looking for someone to help you figure out which way to go, and you had bad advisors in this past life. So this is telling you to take your path wisely, because you're going to be shedding a lot of people, and you're going to be going out more on your own. And I think that's good for you. Um, and that's why you're seeing these people, so you can recognize them, so you don't make the same mistakes you made the last time around. Now, that was all the posted questions, and I hope I answered everyone pretty well. I'm going to go back to comments, of which there's 142, which means I have to go back and thank you, Marianne. Thank you, Coltos. Oh, Coltos. It's done. Coltos got a grid, and I finished it today. I really couldn't get my head clear enough to do it. There's your grid, girl. It's divine feminine. Anyway, that's your grid. And I just love it. I think it's so pretty. She's got citrine in there, amazonite, rose quartz, obviously the amethyst feathers, some mother of pearl, and some this quartz that's here in the middle that looks clear. It's really interesting. It's a naturally crackled quartz. It's quartz that had a lot of infarctions in it when they found it, little broken points. Oh, do I have a person with a hammer out there? Because I've got someone trying to sell his free girls in the city, and I don't like that. Let me see if I can get rid of him. No, he's gone, I think. Yep, thank you. Oh, no, he's here. Okay, wait a minute. Block user. Block user. I have to do my own. Okay. Okay, I'm going to put him in timeout. I'm not going to put all of you in timeout. I'm going to put that guy in timeout. I presume it's a guy, because it's that kind of question. Okay, we got a couple more questions in the chat that I'm going to try and go find. And I have someone's numerology who not only wants to know her date of birth, and I'm going to take them in the order they came in. Esther G. Could get messages from my spirit. Okay, I'm going to see if you can get in touch with them and they can tell you personally. I'll see what they have to say to me, but what's going on around Esther? Well, I can tell you're feeling very blocked up, very trapped, and it's because you're a control freak in a way, and you've been trying to hold on to things, and you need to be moving on instead of holding on. And that's kind of the message for today, isn't it? But you've got great outcomes. You can be you. You can be your truly spiritual self. They're not. Let's see. This is spirit guide. You have some background training in your family to not believe the spirit guides. They're talking to you all the time. You're not listening to them. And sometimes what they say is harsh to you. It's a choice you don't want to have to make, but you need to go ahead and make it. This is you trying to hold on to things too closely. And by doing that, you imprison yourself. But in actual fact, your life's energy right now is ready to go. So that's really good. So now what's going on in the future? Listen to your spirit guides. Turn them around. Listen to them. The thing is, you've never been able to figure out how to put the puzzle together. You've got all the pieces and you're standing there going, why doesn't this work? Well, if you just relax and listen to your guides, they can help you build that protection and the wall you need for yourself. You're going to find temperance. You're going to learn to live in a different part of your mind where you're going to understand the messages. And in the end of this is, let's see, this is 6 months. Yep. Within 6 months, that's you. You're going to have unburdened yourself. And that being reverse means you let it go. That people are going to recognize what you're doing, and you're going to be creating your own sense of balance and your own inner sense for where to go and what to do. So I think it looks good. And their message to you is to ease up, girl, and don't think you have to run everything. Look to the signs and see if you can find things that you don't have to run. Okay? Let's see. I thought I had one in here. Okay, question. Will I have a new job in North Carolina before the end of the year? Current job is getting more toxic by the day. Okay. Yeah, like I said, there's a whole lot of getting rid of and being forced to shed, even though it's not our first inclination to do that. We're going to see. New job in North Carolina. North Carolina is a very pretty state. It's where my daughter went to college, and I really enjoyed visiting it when she graduated. It's the only time I'd been there. Yes, you walking away. Yeah, you're definitely moving. Who's the guy that's trying to block you from moving forward? It may be you. No, you got all the patterns to move forward. Yeah, you got a whole new beginning. Right now, this is really motivating you to get on there. These are the people I think that are making you crazy at work. And you actually, part of the problem you're having about this is you thought this job was salvation because it came at a time when you really needed to move on to something better. But, better doesn't say better forever. And nothing says forever. And at the rate we're changing, what worked for us a year ago isn't going to work for us now. You're going to get yourself out of this prison. You're going to do it on your own. You're going to find your own path. I see a woman being involved with you finding this new position. I don't know if that makes sense, but you're going to go to work with people you really, really liked, and it's a whole new beginning. But it's a job that requires a lot of self-control, and so it's going to require learning back on a lot of things you've already known how to do. But I definitely see you moving on by the end of the year. Okay. That's not good. Things won't lie down right. Hi, Dozen Cats. I saw you're working really hard. She's been on like 5 shows in 5 days. She's getting as bad as Dr. Joy. Dr. Gale, I'm sorry. Show. Birthday reading, please. Okay. Oh, it's your birthday. So you're 4, 2, 6, 12, 3. You're starting a 3-year. 2 years ago, Darlene, you went through a lot of changes. You moved to a lot of new things. You tried out a lot of new stuff. And now the last year was spent working with a lot of people one-on-one. Starting now, you're going into a 3-year, and a 3-year is a communicator. It means you're going to be working with groups of people. It's also a year when you create new stability for yourself because 3 is the triangle. The triangle is the most stable form in physics. And this is a good time for you to move with that and move on with that. I'm just watching. I have some cats that are prowling back and forth. Get ready to hear a cat fight. They get after each other. But your birthday is going to be, this is going to be a fun year. This is a year to build connections, go out and join groups. I'd say wait until after January, because my friends that are experts on COVID keep telling me we have one more round coming up. But you've got a great year ahead of you. You've got a great birthday. I already talked about that. You've got 2 master numbers in your, and I take it you're in Europe because she said 2211. We say 1122 here because we're backwards. Another birthday reading. Okay. 12, 12, 51, 3, 6. And 6 more, so 18. Oh, boy, did you find me on the right day, Patricia? You are going into a 9-year. And a 9-year is a year when you complete things and all the cycles that have been going on in your life sort of roll around and end up being finished. So it's going to be this last year was your money power year, and you probably pushed a whole lot of things you've been working on in the last 7 years, all kind of came together, and you either found a good end for them or maybe not, but mostly you would have. And then you're in a 9-year, and you're going to be picking through things and saying, let go of things. This is what I want to change. And I'll tell you, my favorite 9-year story was the wine bar I was talking about that I read in. There was a server there, and he was also a sommelier. And he was one of those really cute guys that knows that he's a really cute guy. And he had long hair, and he put it up in a man bun, which is the ugliest hairstyle, I think, for men ever. But he used to sit and he'd talk to me, and he was always, I'm going to be a bachelor forever. I mean, he flirted with every girl in the place. I'm never going to date anyone who has children. I don't know how you ever found a man who'd marry you after you had kids. And I said, well, everybody's different. And if you don't want to be around kids, please don't be around kids. So anyway, he was telling me all of his do's and don'ts in life. And he came up to me, and I was looking at him, I go, you cut your hair. And he said, yeah, I just couldn't take it anymore. And I just got it all cut off. And I said, well, that's nice. And then he said, I just feel so restless and so different. And he also told me he'd started dating this wonderful woman, but she had a kid. And he said, I'd never date anyone with a kid. I said, give it a little time. Maybe you'll get to like the kid, or maybe you'll realize you don't. And then you save all of y'all a big problem. And he sat down at my table, and I said, finally looked at him, I said, when's your birthday? He was at the end of his 9th year, and he had done all of his 9th year things. The other thing is he drifted between being a sommelier at the wine bar and working with his dad in property management. And he had just formalized by contract working with his dad on property management. And he was going to take a greater role because the wine bar I worked at had a vineyard, of working with the wines in the vineyards. And he had a signed contract on that. And I said, so everything's changing. And he said, yeah, everything's changing. And I said, and you're wrapping up all these things and you're going into a whole new world. And he said, yeah, well, this was shortly before COVID hit. This was the fall before COVID hit. I was at the wine bar during one of the spells when COVID wasn't everywhere. And I saw him, and I said, how's it going? And he said, well, we did it. We got married. And I said, great. The next time I saw him, I said, how's it going? He said, we're going to have a baby in November. And he had completely rebuilt the top floor of one of his father's apartment buildings to make a house for them. And I'm going to see him tonight, because I'm going to be at the wine bar briefly tonight to meet some people. And I'm sure I'll get the update. And his son's name is Sage. And he said, I remember, he said, that day when you looked at me and you said, everything's going to change. And he said, I been able to keep what I wanted for over 10 years. So you're going into a 9-year. Don't do what JD did. Oops, I shouldn't have said his name. Don't do what he did. Look for chances to make the changes gradually. Now, it may not happen that it's going to happen that way, but let's see what else we got. Yeah, hit thumbs up. That helps me. People see more of this wonderful stuff. He's left. Okay, one of the people from the reading said what I said was true. It's what she's trying to do right now. And let's see. Yes, Angel Speak is on Amazon, and it's not an expensive book, and it will change your life. It really will. Change mine. And all of you who are writing me about how tired you are, I am tired too. And I'm tired because, let's see. Go out and have some fun. I've got one fun thing to this show to talk about. Carol, if you did, please repost what your question was. It didn't get in early enough, or it didn't show up. And I know Carol's life's going through a whole lot of changes too. Oh, Curtis, hi. He's the guy who works at another place where I went reading cards on Halloween. Still not sure about that. It's kind of tiring. I'd much rather deal with y'all here. Dr. Gail's in the house. Yay, go watch her stuff. She's brilliant. And okay, I'm at the end of comments, so if you type real fast, Carol, I should be able to see it to get to your question. What I was going to talk about that was kind of a fun thing is I get these newsletters from Daily Ohm, and they send you one thing a day for 5 during the weekdays, and it's got interesting stuff. And they have a lot of little rituals that we can work with. Okay, I'll answer your question, Darlene, when I finish with this. Energetic sweeping. And what they talked about is, there was a time when everybody swept their porches all the time. And I remember my mother used to sweep a gravel driveway. She was just so compulsive. But spiritually, physically, and emotionally and mentally, it's moving energy. So what they suggest is that you start doing energetic sweeping, even if it's in the morning, even if it's just one spot in your house. But you have a broom or something, and you sweep it up, and you clean up what little stuff you do. Sweep up what little stuff's there, and if you sweep the same place every day, there's not going to be that much. Oh, okay. Okay, and it says it gets your energy moving. It gets I'm trying to find Carol Lamb's comment. Carol Lamb. Okay. I'll go back up to the beginning of the show and see if I can find it there. If not, if you could just type it in. I'm sorry to make you do that twice, but I don't see it. Oops. Nothing there. See, this is why I should have not been lazy and said, I can do this without dozen cats. I need you. But I can't get to the invite right now because I'm in the middle of the show. Yeah, Darlene B has a wonderful day to have a birthday. But anyway, this energetic sweeping is that you pick a spot and you sweep it, and you think in your mind that you're moving all the energy that's around you. Because a lot of what we're feeling we've had so much energy overwhelm us that a lot of us are feeling very caught in energy and caught in sort of a static funk. I cannot tell you the number of people I've spoken with that are feeling that way. And I've watched some very interesting presentations by astrologers who know a lot more than I do. We're going to do this. Who know a lot more than I do about the astrology of right now. Supposedly, this spring is going to be a huge breakthrough. And for some of us, we can feel it coming, but we don't understand what it is yet. So, if you're feeling that way, just welcome to the human race. You're one of us. And I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom. Okay. All these look like things I saw. Hi, Cartomancy. She's over Mesquite. We've had cold weather. Well, cold for us weather. All the rest of you that are 9 feet of snow are saying, honey, you don't know cold weather. Okay. Carol, I cannot find it. And I'm going back to the bottom now to see if you retyped it in. And then that'll be the last question for today, because I have to go read for some people tonight. Ah, I found it. Da-da. And gee, I kind of know I'm not having it. Okay. All right, Carol. I got you. I'm asking if he's trustworthy. I'm not asking if you made a mistake. I'm asking if he's trustworthy. You've been so burnt in this case. I don't blame you if you didn't trust anybody. But if he comes up he's not trustworthy, then we'll go to question 2. Girl, you're going to get the money soon. You've got 3 aces on here. You got the ace of money, you got the ace of new beginnings, you got people that should be together. Yes, something's going wrong where he works and things are not flowing like they should, and that's led to hiccups. But let's see, is this going to be resolved? Yeah, that problem that's happened in his office with paperwork is going to be resolved. And what's this? You're not going to get the money till winter. That's what this is about. This is a winter card, Pentacles. I don't think he's ripping you off. I think something's happened in his practice that slowed things down. Let's see. And I'm going to ask, I'll just flat out ask, do you need to switch attorneys again? Which has got to be the most maddening process in the universe. No, that the road you're on is going to get you to what you want. This is your out card. So, I don't know what's happened in his law firm, but I have a feeling it's not your case that's caused the problem. So, and, okay. What else is going on? December 1st, Tim Walther will be here. It will be earlier in the day. Please keep check of the time, because he's in England, so we have to time it so that he's not up at midnight accommodating me. But he's the guy who does energetic healing and he heals house energies and can tell you how to find ley lines. And he actually runs a whole course over in England where he teaches people how to do that. I don't know how hands-on the course is. I'm going to be interviewing him somewhat like I did Kathleen last week about her experiences with Findhorn to see how that relates to what we have going on. And so I'm studying Earth energetics, but the Earth has just been dealing with this planet. It right now, I realize I volunteered to come back, but what can I say? Wouldn't be the first mistake I made in my life. Anyway, uh, try some energetic sweeping. Try going into a spot in your house, taking out a little broom, a little brush broom, anything, cleaning up a spot and saying, yeah, I'm moving all this energy around. I want to get it clean and get it straight. And I'm going to get Carol's thing off. Thank y'all for being here. I wasn't on Scott's channel on Sunday, and then apparently neither was Scott. But I went to Austin. That was my Christmas with my grandchildren, and I never got your email. I never got the text on your tree cartomancy. So if you could send it to me, that would be helpful. And then Danny, Shay, and I are going to do a show about the solstice, the winter solstice. And because that's when we're going to really start to feel this energy snowballing. And, I could read about all the shenanigans that are going on among all the politicians and all the states and all the lawyers being lined up. I think it's more important for us to know where we need to be energetically as humans. So if you have friends that you think could get value from that, please share my site with them and let them know. To my married gardeners, and I see several of them in here, I'm intending to do a garden meeting on Saturday. I'm going to have a garden class on Saturday. But other than that, I'm having a holiday like other people have holidays. So, what fun. So, goodbye, good night, good day. Have a happy Thanksgiving. I will get your grid in the mail to you, Coltos, probably Friday. And I'll talk to y'all later. Oh, pray for my poor car. I got in it and the battery's dead. And I have to decide this month about keeping it because I have to re-register it with the state. So any messages you could send to your guides to tell my guides what to do with my car, I'd really appreciate it because I'm kind of dumbfounded. Anyway, take care. And I'll see you either carless or with a car later this week or next week. Bye.